minister was bowing down. The more he talked, the more I said, what? I was looking at them and I said, this is the devil. You know, and he could see that whatever he was talking about, I wasn't into it, and so he saw me as a threat to what he was doing out there. Plus in '74, some of the brothers had cut one of the wardens' throat. He just cut his throat. They had a meeting in his office, they cut his throat. The brothers in El Reno, stuff like that. So the nation was, they believed that you get four, you know, if you kill the devil, you get four little things, you know, little decals and stuff like that. So anyway, so the warden, the next thing I knew, I was on the boat, on the bus, I was headed for Leavenworth. They used to call Leavenworth in those days the end of the world. And so, anyway, it was a blessing. I knew everybody in California, but over on this side, everybody on this side, all the federal prisons, the Dar Islam movement had some brothers in 75, 76 and all, had some brothers in the at Leavenworth, and pretty soon we started hanging all out together, you know, because I was in receiving and I was telling some of the brothers, the Sunnis, I said, yeah, because we was doing a lot of fishing. I said, we having a meeting down, you know, tomorrow or something, you know, where you doing fishing. And they said, well, you can come to our meeting too. So I was looking at them, who is you? What are y'all? Well, we Sunnis, we're Sunnis. Who the hell is Sunnis? Anyway, so I found out who the Sunnis was, and who the Moors was, you know, all of that, because see, we didn't have all that stuff in California. Anyway, the point is that every time they was trying to move me away from something, they put me right in the middle of it. So instead of me staying out in California and out on the West Coast, right, they sent me out this way. So the people, and remember that in the mid-'70s, all the people, the revolutionaries, half of them was in prison because they cleaned up the whole end of the '60s and the '70s. Everybody was in the prison or dead, or a few was running around in exile. So instead of sending me away from the movement, they sent me right to the movement. Okay, now they don't have no plan like we're planning to do all this on his behalf, but that's what it's adding up to. So coming to, and also, man, the East Coast brothers, they had every fruit, you know, from Philadelphia. Technically, you should call it Black Mafia. Philadelphia. All them brothers, the minister, the whole fruit from the outside was in prison. From Kansas City, when Imam Muhammad came to Kansas City in '75 to see if his brother Nathaniel Muhammad was dealing drugs, which he was. I mean, we're on the yard. Kansas City is 35 miles from Leavenworth. So whatever was happening in Kansas City, it's already on the yard. So Imam Muhammad came to Kansas City to find out what his brother was doing. He went on back, he said a word. Because he was doing that, that's what he was doing. The white man know we doing this for the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, and I'm the brother Imam Muhammad, and this is why I'm in prison. That wasn't necessarily so. You know, because the captain, everybody but the minister, the captain, the secretary from Kansas City was all in prison. So, can you imagine that the whole fruit from all around the country, we was all in Leavenworth together. And we got all, you know, and that's why a lot of the stuff I be passing on, I was with the people that was doing what we was doing in California. Some of the other ones was doing the same thing here. Except they was meaner. Hey man, I ain't gonna mention, some of the brothers were not nice. No, we was nice guys compared to them. Hey man, but you gotta build a nation, you know, and you know, it wasn't halal and haram. However, this is money. That money is good money. Anyway, let me go on. So when we come out during those periods, we have a chance, if you remember, to travel all around the country giving lectures. And at first, mainly, it was immigrants. And every city we would go to, we would go to the Masjid, and, you know, so we knew the whole field for what was going on and at that time, and also the transitions, the movements that are being crushed, you know, at that time, which would be Islamic Party, the Al-Islam movement, and the monitoring. If you notice, in every group, in Imam Muhammad's community, it's just like here. Every one of them is exactly the same. They had Masjid Ashura over here, right? They had Masjid out there on Martin Luther King, and they had the Central Mall. Every one of the communities broke up where it wasn't one solid leadership in almost every city. Did that happen down that way?
Yeah,
almost everywhere. So this was all a planned destruction of the cohesion, you know, of the unity. I think Imam Muhammad saw that right away. That's why he felt somewhat paralyzed, so he said, well, I'll just do the best I can. And he did. He did a good job. But that community that transferred from the Nation of Islam was thoroughly infiltrated. Thoroughly, from the very beginning. Infiltrated and almost directed. You know, almost directed. You could see it, you could feel it, and you could taste it. So then let's deal with the relationships that we form, let's say with Iranians, was a good, healthy relationship. No matter what happened, sometimes like now and what have you, but we have to look at things from their point of view. When we look at the Shia community, first of all of the African Americans in LA and here, everywhere, they, I'll put it this way, since we was all black, they thought we had the same agenda. We'd get money from the Iranians, we'd do this, and they would be telling me, we'll get that. And I'm saying, we ain't into that. So when I would try to inform the Iranians, well, you know, there's certain, I gave a speech publicly, maybe at least 10 years ago down in Houston. I said, our experience was that almost all the African American Shias was the police. Okay, now they got big stuff going on. So that means now you got to remember the African Americans from here, they wasn't there, but some of them, a few of the places like down in Atlanta, they was there. And then they got brothers like Hashim Alauddin, he come to our masjid, and I saw how they acted. And I told them, no, our experience was that almost all the African American Shias that we run across was the police. Well, it would be something where she is, so shoot, almost everybody was the police, right? Infiltrating Islamic, it ain't nothing new. So I think then things started to, see, you can't always put your finger on exactly why the different things happen. There's some gray areas, and even at the office over there, the daftar they call it, just means office in Persian. They had African Americans flooding in there. You go back, good God Almighty, let's say 40 years, time be passing. Okay, almost all the African Americans that worked that was helping the embassy, they was a little funny. You could tell they was a little funny because you could look here. This used to be the seat. Everybody used to come here, and all of a sudden they don't come no more. Why? What did we do? What did we say? If you want to have Dua Komel here, you know, on Thursday, have it. Right. And all the Shia, you go out there and just look at them Shia. We got a whole, you wouldn't believe it. We got Shia books out there. I'm telling you, the books, all of them, right out there. Okay. So anyway, we're happy with our whole experience, our whole Islamic and Jahiliyyah experience. We're happy with it. We're satisfied with it. And a lot of the things that happen, it's just like what was happening before. Sometimes people are meant to be a part of a big team and what have you, and sometimes it's their job to go out there and get busy. And like As-Sabiqun, if you see what the movement demands, what it needed, As-Sabiqun don't wait for other people. That's not one of the characteristics of As-Sabiqun. They go out and they get busy, they do what has to be done, and they go on about their business. So the name of our structure is As-Sabiqun al-Awwalun. That's our job, to go out, to get busy, and to get out in front of the movement, not get behind it. Okay, so with that attitude, we come in contact with literally everything, and even the Indo-Pakistani Shias. We helped get their whole thing started, you know, back 2004, 2005, all that. Yeah, we were the main speakers because at that time we were better known than all of their whole crew. We did it happily. Then where are they now? You know, in other words, where is everybody? You got to remember, like, see, there are certain things that in order to do, there are certain risks you have to take. And it's not like lonely, it's the way it is. You have to be able to get on out there and get busy. If everybody leaves, I sure hate to see y'all go, but I'm not going to be bothered with you. Goodbye. And the people may buy them a spot out there. They try to give you a hint that they bought it themselves. It don't work like that. The Negroes ain't going to buy nothing. The people going to buy it for them and take them out there. You can tell by the people that come through. You know, after you get the flow of things, you can see how it goes. And so, well, you have to ask yourself, well, what did we do? We didn't do nothing. What did we do with all the Sunnis? Absolutely nothing. Well, is there something wrong with us, or is there something wrong with them? It's a simple question. Is our platform wrong, disturbing and upsetting and misguided, or is theirs misguided? And you have to, these are real things, you have to decide, right? Then when you come to that conclusion, you will realize that if you're going to do right in this world, right, it's going to call for risk. Because like you say, they need Captain America, they need the Power Rangers, they need, it's like the world, we say it is ran by the Joker, right? Them old crazy people on the movies, that's who's running the world, the Joker that got, right? So you need those people to come, superheroes, right? Well, that means that's the part we have to play. That's the part we have to play, and at first it seems like a risk, but it's not a risk. It's a risk if you don't do nothing, not a risk if you do something. Because once you get used to dealing with boss man can't scare you no more. After a while, he can stand behind the thing, boo, and the first time you jump, that's his boss man. Then after you do it 10 or 15 times, you walk through the door, you say, man, get out behind the door. I already know you're behind there. I don't feel like bothering you today. Right? Because it's what you do every time. You're trying to scare, you want to scare somebody? Well, we're going to change it to psychological guerrilla warfare. Because what? That means you ain't going to kill nobody. It's all in the mind. And if you know it's all in the mind, you can't get hurt, right? Yeah, and you get him to go along with it. And he's not that bright. Why he's not that bright? He's not that bright because in his decline, you look at every system in their decline and you wonder, why would they continue to do that? Why would the Romans and the British and everybody continue to do what they do? Well, because that's what they've been doing all the time, and they all get the same type of arrogance, and we're going to be here, and we've always, something always going to pull a rabbit out of the hat, we're going to do this, and that's what we're going to do. And then it gets into self-sabotage, like individuals have sometimes a pattern of self-sabotage. Nations have it. If you looked at America right now, the last, let's say the Trump administration, everything, the TTOP for that Asia, he pulled out of that, right? He make fun of NATO. Y'all ain't doing y'all job, you know what I mean? Anybody you can think of. And then he liked the dummies that when he had a bromance with Kim Jong-un. We have a wonderful relationship. Well, both of them is crackpot. Well, Kim Jong-un ain't a bigger crackpot as he is, because Kim Jong-un writing him romantic letters, and this fool is going for it. Kim Jong-un still got his missiles. He ain't doing it. He said, hey man, if you need a pat on the back, and that's all it costs me, sure. Oh, you're just the nicest guy I've seen. Oh, where you're going out this week, maybe we can get to see each other, something dumb like that, right? That's the way the dummy is. Okay, so now, the risk for us is not trying to solve the problem, being a part of the solution. The risk is not doing it. That's the risk. Because that means we're letting our family down, we'll put our historical process, and remember, never forget the historical process. History has placed us in this process at this time for a specific reason. And so, Allah don't say, Allah can say, boom, kun, fayakun, be and it is, but Allah arranges things so they usually, it's a process of evolution and transition. And you look up, and there it all is. Okay. So what team are we going to be on? That's what we have to decide. We're on which side of history. are we going to be on? So we're presenting history, our view of history. The story that we've been involved in is everywhere I've ever went in the world during this period, people pay attention to us. But boss man don't want nobody to think that, well, he used to try to say, don't nobody care about y'all but me. I said, well, boss man, if what you're doing to me showing you care, I don't want nobody to care about me no more. You know what I mean? If what you're doing shows how much you care, I don't want no care. No love and care, and none of that. But see, so history has blessed our story right now to be the global story of oppression. Black Lives Matter, this is going on, that's going on. That's blending in with the whole story of human transition and human revival. And we got tons of allies on our side that we've been with all along. Now, some people ask us questions about China, about this, about that. I was watching a program, it might have been this morning, on the Uyghurs in China and what they say about it. Look, from our position, China gonna have to manage their own psychic. We don't have enough power to deal with all those, you know what I mean? This is like, if we ain't got enough power to deal with boss man here, we can just point the way. So what we gonna do with China and all the places around the world? No, they're going to have to manage themselves. They're gonna have a high standard of ethics and morality. The same thing 3 years ago in San Francisco, we told the Iranians, everybody's getting with you, but you're gonna have to improve in ethics and morals. Because if people are turning their life over to you, they're gonna have to know you're gonna handle their life, their family, you know what I mean, with some honor. You're gonna have to do that. That's what we was telling them. The same thing goes for any people that's on the ascendancy. If you're on the ascendancy, or if you're on the decline,